Each of us, in whatever our vocation is, God has created us with a certain set of skills and strengths and passions to meet a need. And there's a theologian called Frederick Buechner who talks about how to find your calling. Your calling is where the world's deepest need and your greatest passions collide.
She said yes to writing a children's book with no agent, no publisher, and no plan, just a conversation, a calling, and a Google Doc. That book ended up in the hands of a HarperCollins publisher. I'm Nicole and this is Becoming, a collective of soul-led journeys. I'm honored to be sitting with my good friend and neighbor, Cameron Vickrey, and I cannot wait for you to hear her journey. So I would love to start by just kind of giving some context on our history and relationship. Cameron and I have been great friends since about 2015, and our daughters were actually best friends growing up since they were itty bitty kindergarten, right?
Yeah.
And Cameron and I met at the girls' school, and Cameron suckered me into being on the PTA executive board.
I did.
She did.
Because I think I was treasurer, right? And I was so badly wanting to hand it off.
Yes.
And so I recruited you.
You did. And I fell in love with it. We had so much fun those few years and got to know each other really well and meet so many other amazing women. But in that journey, we developed this friendship and also realized that we both have a lot of the same passions and interests, such as marketing and things like that and faith. And so we really got to kind of start working together and collaborating a little bit. We did some marketing work together. And so we've had a really great sort of evolution of our friendship and relationship, don't you think?
Yes. And it's been so fun, especially to watch both of our careers kind of find their footing and develop.
Absolutely.
You know, and really like we're in very different worlds now or fields, but with some of the same overlap and qualities and strengths. And anyway, it's been fun.
Totally agree. A little bit about Cameron and her background. So Cameron is the co-author of a lovely children's book called My Love, God is Everywhere. It's a household favorite in our house, and I have 2 copies myself. Make sure you go to Prime and order yourself one today. In addition to that, she is the director of communications at FaithWorks and also a co-founder of Reverend Mamas. Did I get everything?
I think you did. Yes.
Other than also being a mom of 3 incredible girls who I love and adore. But that's a little bit about Cameron. Now I would love to dive in and talk a little bit about sort of your journey, Cameron, and when God started sort of planting calls on your heart, maybe for the book or for Reverend Mamas and some of the other things that you've created and founded and put out in the world. What do you think really brought you internally to those ideas and how you've got the courage to sort of leap and start executing on them?
Well, as regards to the book, that is a really fun story to tell. When, let's see, it was 2021, about like right during COVID. Maybe it was 2020 because I think it was during COVID. My friend Victoria, who I wrote the book with, said to me, do you know any good children's books about God to recommend? Now, Victoria is a pastor and she also has 3 kids. They're just a lot younger than mine. And so she thought, okay, Cameron's also in the ministry. That's another part of my background that we didn't really talk about, but I'm also in the ministry. I went to seminary. My husband's a pastor, so church and faith are very important to me, and forming my kids in the faith is very important to me. So she thought, Cameron will know some books about God to recommend to our kids. And I said, you know, that's the thing. I have never really found ones that I like a whole lot. I find them to be, you know, maybe lacking in depth or the theology that I like or something. And so I don't really have any good ones to recommend. How about we write one? And she said, are you serious? Because I would actually love to do that. And so I said, you know what? I am serious. Let's do it. And there's something about, I think, just having the confidence and the courage that came to me in that moment to say, I think I have something to say about this topic. I have the theological background, the parenting background. I love to write. I love art. You know, all of those things kind of in the moment came together, and I was able to say, I think I can do this. And so we did. And I'll just fast forward. We did it without a plan. We had no agent, no publisher, of course, nothing like that. We wrote it on Google Docs and over Zoom. And because we don't even live in the same city. So over maybe the course of a year, we decided to write this book. And then once we had the text, she reached out to a friend of hers who's an artist in California, who I'm just going to plug her, Joanna Carrillo. She's on Instagram. She's incredible. And she had never illustrated a children's book before, but it was always something she'd wanted to do.
Right.
And so that's another part of the empowerment, I think, especially like women helping women.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, we could have gone to somebody that was established. I mean, the thing is, she was free.
Yeah. There's that.
But we knew she had that dream, and we were able to say, we wrote this book. Would you want to illustrate it? No promises. We have no idea what will come of this. But is that like a passion project that you would enjoy? And she jumped on it and did it. And it's an amazing that's the first thing everybody says.
It's
the illustrations
beautiful.
Are just stunning.
Magical. Yes.
They are magical.
Magical. Yes.
And since then, she has become a children's book illustrator.
No way. So you set her on her path too.
We set her on her path.
I love that. That's how it works.
Her job.
That's why we're doing this show. That's how it works.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it.
So, we did end up, once we had the full like PDF of the text and her beautiful illustrations, like the first draft of them, I sent it to a friend of mine who is a Christian writer for, adults, not a children's writer. And I just asked his advice. Like, do you have any advice for us? Should we self-publish on Amazon? Because that's okay to do too. And we would have been fine with that. Just give it to our friends. And he surprised me and said, actually, I love this book. I'm going to get it published. I'm going to go talk to, this publishing house and this one and this one. And I stopped him and said, Jonathan, you can't, because you have to be an agent to get in the door at those publishing houses. And he said, I am an agent. Isn't that why you called me?
Isn't it funny how the divine works like that? How everything unfolds? It's really amazing.
So it's just one of my favorite stories about that I think illustrates that when you follow that still small voice in that gut and you just think like, maybe God has like perfectly suited me for this moment and for this thing, then it can become something.
So it can be scary, I know, for me, and I'm wondering if you've experienced the same. When you create something from your heart and you put it out into the world, even if it's not maybe founded in, realistic fear, there is the illusion that like, I'm scared to be rejected or that it won't land the way I want it to. People won't understand it, right? Or it won't be well received. And when you put things out in the world, those feelings can kind of creep up. Did you ever sort of have any hesitation or fear or limiting beliefs or like imposter syndrome along the way?
100%. And it wasn't even as much about the book and the product because I believed in it so much. But like with most things now, you have to be a little self-promotional to do anything. I mean,
Yeah.
And with publishing, and I'll say like we had a real publishing house and I just thought this is going to be great. They're going to do all the work for me to get this book into the world, right? It was a HarperCollins publisher. And even they depend so much on authors to do the legwork of the PR and the publicity and the marketing. In fact, it's really hard to get published if you don't have an big Instagram following. So we somehow got around that. But then the publishers said, hey, we really need you to have an Instagram.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because Victoria and I both had our personal ones, but they wanted us to have something together.
Yeah.
And so
that can get complicated when you're trying to have a personal brand and then you're...
It is. Yeah. And a lot of people, actually, I don't think they told us to do that. That was a decision that we made together. And especially since we're two separate individuals, we thought this project, a joint project, should have a shared Instagram account. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But we created something called Reverend Mamas on Instagram, and it has kind of taken on a life of its own. But that was a really scary thing to do because it was basically saying, here we are, please buy our book.
Love it as much as we do, please. I know the feeling.
There's so much fear in that. And I just think, especially as women, we are just not comfortable with that as much,
Yep. No, it's very true. Or, also the fear of how we're going to be perceived. Are we going to be like, I still deal with those fears, even as healed as I am at this point. Like I deal with fears of people thinking that I'm leading by ego or, because I do have self-confidence now and I am willing to take risks and things like that. And as a woman, I will hear that little voice in the back of my head that society put in there that says, you're being too much. Yes. You're being too much. This is too much. You need to dial it back. Go back to your place, right? And, I've learned to push past all that and really be able to point at it and say, okay, that's not real. That's an illusion in your head,
Right. Yes.
But I think a lot of women struggle with that. you know, the too much factor. So
yeah,
it's interesting. So one of the things I loved when you were concepting for this book and going through the creative development, you pulled all your closest friends and your community in on the development. And you texted me one night and you said, hey, I need you to throw out all the questions the kids have asked you about God and prayer and creation and things like that. And, you know, when you told me about what you were creating, I was so excited because like you, I didn't feel like there were children's books that really talked about the concept of God. And some of the questions I gave you were that my kids always ask me were like, all three of them have asked me, why do I pray if God doesn't answer? And how come when I pray, the things I pray for, I don't see happen, right? Yeah. Or how do I know God exists if I can't see him or hear him or touch him? And so kind of giving you those and then being able to read the book later and see the, you know, the themes of some of the conversations and questions that people submitted is just the coolest thing. So do you feel good about like, you know, making this sort of a community driven, you know, story?
That was very important to us because, well, like I said, when we decided to write the book, we didn't know what book it would be.
Yeah.
But we just had this sense that parents, not just moms, but that parents are not, we don't feel well equipped to answer the questions that our children come to us with about God. Because faith is it's so important to all of us and it's a big topic. And
it's also such a personal topic. Each person goes through that journey and gets to their destination in their own way.
Yes. Yeah. And let's come back to that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to say something that's going to screw them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, well, what are these things? Like maybe we can help give some tools.
Yeah.
So we wanted to ask parents, like, what are the things bubbling up? What are the conversations in your house? What do you have a hard time answering?
Yeah.
And let's dive into that. And so great questions that your kids ask about prayer and God. One of the most common ones that we got is, and this goes to like the age group that we wrote this book for, which is pretty young. It's like 3 to 6.
Or 39.
Yeah. Amen. Like, especially the little kids, one of the first questions they want to know is, where is God? And so the title of the book is My Love, God is Everywhere. So when a child asks, where is God? They can be really literal with that. Like they want to know, okay, I don't see God.
Yeah.
I don't touch God. I don't, you know.
Well, they want God as a construct because that's how reality is to them.
Of course.
Everything is a construct. Yeah.
Yes. And so they want to know, well, where is God? You know, is God up in heaven? That's something that they know. Is God in my heart? How is God in two places at once? Like everywhere. It's mind blowing, I think. And so we wanted to literally answer the question of where is God and expand the notion of God's presence. At the same time, the thing I loved about that question is because it's a question we don't stop asking throughout our whole lives. Absolutely. When you go through difficult times, what is the thing that you're asking? Yeah. Where are you, God?
Yeah.
What are you doing right now? Like, what is your purpose? Where are you? Are you with me? Have you abandoned me? And that is a very biblical question too. Yeah. The writers...
I've asked that a lot in the last few years. Yeah.
The writers of the Psalms ask it all the time. Jesus asks it from the cross. So it's a profound question that doesn't leave us throughout our lives. And so the book, although simple, is not simplistic.
Yeah.
So the questions might sound really like, oh, God is there in the flowers and the dog and da-da-da. But there's some depth there that like we want parents especially to cling on to. And where our prayer is that if kids are growing up with literature like this, that will sink in and hopefully carry them through those moments in their lives.
Build their faith. Yeah.
Yeah. And take them through those difficult times in their life where they're wondering, where is God? And maybe some of these like words will come to the surface.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny when you said the depth of the book and how it can appeal to anyone of any age. When I read it to the kids for the first time at home, I definitely drew tears during reading it because I needed to hear it as much as they did.
Yeah.
And having that reminder that God is omnipresent, that our Creator is always with us, you know, and that we are not doing this alone is even as adults, we tend to think about God in a construct, like go to church, check the boxes, but we forget about the two-way relationship and staying in that connection. For me, the book really rang true and I needed to hear it, I want to read a couple of my favorite pages. Would you be okay with that? All right.
One thing we told the illustrators, my favorite thing to tell people before they read the book, we said to her, when you're illustrating this book, can you draw in the presence of God to every page?
Oh, I love it.
And that sounds like an impossible task, right? Yeah. But it's not on every page, but on a lot of, especially the full spreads, there's a little bit of like white light shimmer in some of the places. Yeah. And that is the expression of the presence of God.
I'm going to read you guys a little bit of this. Is God here when it's loud or there when it's quiet? My love, God is here when it's loud. In the music that we sing, God is even present when shouts of chaos ring. And God is there when it's quiet in the stillness that we meet. When we can't hear a thing, God is close to our heartbeat. Is God here when I'm happy or there when I'm sad? My love, God is here when you're happy in your joy and celebration. God dances with you because you are God's creation. I love that. And God is there when you're sad, holding you when you're blue, hurting alongside you because God gets sad too. Is God here when I'm scared or there when I'm brave? My love, God is here when you're scared, when you're anxious and afraid. God is here to hold your hand on days when you feel betrayed. And God is there when you're brave, when you feel like standing tall, when you're ready to face dragons. God is with you through it all. This was the page that made me cry. So good, Cameron. Thank you for sharing this beautiful work with the world.
Thanks for reading some of that. Brings back so much for me.
So you can get the book on Amazon Prime. Make sure that you go get it. And I wanted to ask you, so what's next for Reverend Mamas? What are you guys up to these days?
Well, we've been a little bit quiet on Instagram, and that's because we've been writing. So we actually have 2 new books coming out in 2027.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The first will be, I don't remember the publication date, but it's in the spring of 2027, about a year from now. And it's sort of a follow-up to this one. It's called My Love, Keep Your Wonder.
Love it.
And so this one answers the question, where is God?
Yeah.
The next one is going to be addressing like the deep why questions that kids have. So, why do bad things happen? Why is grandma sick?
Yeah.
But there are also some like light ones. So I'll tell you actually the moment that I knew this was the book that we were going to write. I was on a walk in Hardburger Park and this little girl was approaching me and she was talking to her mom or her parents, and she looks up at the sky and she goes, "Look, Mom, the moon is out today. Why is the moon out?"
That sounds like me on a Tuesday.
Yes.
I love the moon.
I love the moon too.
I love the moon.
And so it just it grabbed me and I said, yes, nature, like you look around the world and you are just filled with wonder. And that's what asking why questions are. They're just those wonder moments. And our kids are so good at that, at noticing those little things and like being filled with wonder. And again, that's something that I just think is so important for us to live balanced, healthy lives, is just to remember the wonder, to take time for that.
It's interesting you say that, because in a lot of my spiritual journey the last few years, like rediscovering that inner child within me, that silliness, that playfulness, because really feminines are supposed to embody those traits. We're supposed to be creators. We're supposed to be silly. We're supposed to be lighthearted. We're supposed to be, in wonder. And I had lost that part of myself big time. And so kind of reviving her and bringing her back to life has brought me so much joy and happiness. And not just me, but my friends and my kids and my family, like just watching me live in that wonder again, and then wanting to share that with other people and wake them up and be like, look at the moon, right? Yes. Look at the stars, right? Yes. So I love that. I can't wait to read it.
Okay. The other one is a different sort of project. It's still for children.
Okay.
It's a book of blessings.
Okay.
I believe the title, it's kind of still a working title, is Ask the Animals. And it comes from, this is like kind of in the weeds, but it comes from a verse in the book of Job in the Bible where they, actually I don't remember who says it. Maybe one of Job's friends says, ask the animals and they will tell you, look at the birds of the air and they will show you.
Yeah.
And it's sort of this wisdom. To me, it represents the wisdom that God's creation has for us, that like when we are feeling lost, we can look to other creatures.
Yeah.
And just the inherent blessings that God has given to everybody, every different kind of creature.
Yeah.
So each blessing is from the voice of a different animal. It's 40 blessings from the voice of 40 different animals, and each one is trying to pass on their unique characteristic to the child.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's been really,
cool.
really fun
that
to
one's
write.
So cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So when are these coming out? Do you have a timeline?
That one is coming out in August 3rd, 2027.
Okay.
And the picture book will be earlier, about a year from now, in the March 2027. Okay. I think that's what it is.
Are you doing pre-order again like you did for the first one? Let us know. Let us know.
I will. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's segue a little bit. Do you want to talk about FaithWorks and some of the work you're doing there?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so I am the director of communications and development for a nonprofit organization called FaithWorks. I'll just give you like our mission statement since I'm the communications director. That's my job.
Please. By all means.
FaithWorks mobilizes Christians to practice compassion and pursue justice.
Okay, love it.
So we are not a church, we're not a denomination, but we are a Christian nonprofit, and we come alongside, individuals that want to figure out how to live out their faith outside the walls of the church, maybe. So we do some political advocacy and some hands-on, mission work. That's what we call compassion work. So it's, and we work in lots of different areas: racial justice, immigration, hunger is a big one. And we just try to help people connect the dots between like their faith and what they're hearing at church and like how they can serve the world.
And how that plays into humanity. Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yes. So Cameron, how did you get started with FaithWorks, and what kind of fulfillment does it bring to you in your life in terms of being a vessel for good works?
Well, that's a good question. I am so grateful for this organization and our team there, which has grown a lot. And that's kind of a cool story in itself. So FaithWorks started in 2017, and it was one of the first jobs I took after taking a long break from having kids. So my oldest was born in 2010, and my third was born in 2015. And I loved being a stay-at-home mom. And I did that for lots of reasons. We're a ministry family. Like, we didn't have big, deep pockets. And I just felt like one of the things I could do at that time in my life was, stay home, save money, not send the kids to daycare, right? And it brought me so much joy in that season.
And that's about when you and I met.
Yes, it is. Yes. And I wanted to go back to work, but that is a hard transition.
Yeah.
It is so hard to get back into it.
Yeah. I was telling Hudson even last night before he went to bed, the first day I ever dropped him off at daycare, he was 12 months old. And that was the earliest I'd taken any of the three. And I was working a very demanding job. And he was very attached to me at that time, that 1 year mark. And he cried for 45 minutes. And I told him I sat in the hallway. I would not leave until I didn't go in, but I just sat in the hallway and listened to him. I literally couldn't tear myself away until he stopped crying, and I just cried with him until he stopped, and then I went on my way, and eventually it got better. But it's like, it is such a hard leap to make, especially when they're little.
Yes, but I just want to sit in that moment with you.
It was really hard
in the hallway. But you know what I immediately pictured when you described that?
What?
Like, that is the presence of God.
That's the presence of God. God was with me in that hallway.
God was with you, and you were representing the presence of God for Hudson.
Yeah.
You were. You were channeling the Spirit of God, because God's
tissues.
Yeah. Because God does not leave us in our sadness.
Yeah.
And sits there and cries with us, even if we can't see, right? Like, you were in the hallway, you weren't holding him, but you were not going to leave him. And I think sometimes that's us. Like, we are baby Hudson.
Yeah.
And we're going through a hard time, and like, we may not realize it, but God is right there on the other side of the wall.
That's so true.
Yes.
Wow. What a metaphor. Wow.
Yeah. So parenting, right?
Yeah.
And working.
Yeah.
It's the hardest.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
So how did you finally make the leap?
Well, I mean, for me, I was able to do a really gradual, I worked a couple part-time jobs and cobbled together, different contracts for organizations. And it's like such a crazy thing how our journeys evolve, because I did not go to school for communications, but it was something that I could do. And it has to do with relationships. It was a trusted friend that gave me an opportunity and said, if you want to dip your toes in, I could use some help with the marketing and the communications of this. And I know you're a great writer and you're a people person and you'll know what to do. And they trusted me with that. And so off I went. And so anyway, one of those very first clients was FaithWorks.
Okay.
And it was just starting, and it was just one guy and me part-time. And since then, it has grown enough that I've been able to drop my other clients and work full-time for FaithWorks. And since then it has grown, and we are now, I mean, you know, this isn't going to sound, if you're not in the nonprofit world, but you know, our budget has just absolutely ballooned. Our staff has grown to a full-time staff of 7 plus part-time. And so it's been really rewarding for me to kind of see my role in that. And eventually at one point I took on the development work, which is fundraising. And so I feel so proud that, like, because of the work that I've done in writing grants and, you know, fundraising campaigns and just asking for support, we've been able to do so much good in the world.
I love it.
Yeah.
What's a moment that sort of stands out to you, maybe that you felt God's presence?
With work or?
With FaithWorks.
With FaithWorks? Okay, well, if anyone's familiar with grant writing, if any listeners are familiar with grant writing, you know, that is a big part of a nonprofit development director's job. And I had not really written any grants yet, and this is years ago. But I thought, okay, I'm going to just search up the biggest one I know, which in the nonprofit world, again, you know, is called Lilly, the Lilly Endowment. And so I saw that they had an open initiative, and everything I read about it seemed to fit us perfectly, but it was due in 3 days.
I think I vaguely remember you telling me about this and how nervous you were to get it out. It
may have been like 2023-ish.
Yeah.
And so I just had this gut feeling, though, that this is for us. This is for us. And so I dropped everything. And this was a humongous grant. And I mean, you know, 40 pages. And so I just dropped everything and dove in. And sometimes that's called for. And it's like, anyway, I didn't know if it would be worth it. I thought it was such a long shot, but I just had this gut feeling that, like, we could get this. And I took a leap, and I put my all into it. And it wasn't just me, it was our team. You know, everybody had to pitch in. And anyway, we got it, of course, because it's a good story.
That's awesome.
But I don't know. That has, like, given me a lot of confidence, I think, to trust myself and to know, like, if I see something in this, maybe there's a reason. Like, maybe I know, and maybe I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you do.
You know?
We discredit ourselves so much.
Yes.
Like, I struggled with that with public speaking, because now I'll, you know, speak at events and stuff, but my first time I totally bombed, because in my head I was just like, nobody cares what you have to say. You know, that imposter syndrome takes over, and then we have those limiting beliefs, and I really had to work through that. But you never even get across that bridge if you don't even take the first step, right? And so you just have to, like, push through it. And when you go through that fear and that anxiety enough times and get on the other side of that wonderment and, like, what comes as a result of moving through the fear, then you start to build that confidence of, like, wait, I've been here before. I recognize this feeling. I had this when I did A, B, and C, and look what A, B, and C turned into when I didn't let that stop me. So I'm not going to let it stop me this time.
That's such good advice. And I feel like I had the same journey. I used to be so terrified of public speaking. Like, my voice would, like, close up. I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. But
I talk like a million miles an hour when I'm nervous.
We all have those weird things.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think it's so important to talk about it so that people know, like, you're not alone. Like, everyone, I think there are people that, like, really love public speaking and thrive in that.
I'm not one of them.
Fine. Good. Congratulations to them.
I much prefer this setup.
Yeah.
Give me a mic and a comfy couch.
Yes. And just a good friend.
And a good friend to chat with. Yeah.
But yes, like, you're not going to die from this.
Yeah.
Just doing it. Just knowing that you can get to the other side of it and like see so much growth. And I have grown in that same area. And it is so rewarding to just take the leap and trust yourself and know that you can do things. You can do hard things.
Yeah, I love that. I was going to ask you, and it sounds like you pretty much answered it, but expand if you want. In sort of the last 10, 11 years that I've known you, you've accomplished so much and you've gone through so many different journeys. What has all that helped you to discover about yourself, maybe pieces of yourself that you didn't know existed?
Yeah, that's a great question. I am someone that has not just had, like, one vision for who I want to be. Well, I say who in the career sense, like what I want to be, what I want to do with my life. I've always just been, like, super open-minded. And sometimes that was hard because it felt like I had nothing.
Yeah.
or no direction.
Yeah.
Feels like there's no direction.
Where do I focus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where do I focus? I knew that I wanted to be a mother. And so I checked that box first.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
When I was little, what do you want to be when you grow up? A mommy. A mommy. That was it.
So
I wanted nothing else.
That is a great ambition.
And that's ironic sitting here right now, right?
Yes,
I just wanted to be a mom. How did I end up on this couch?
Yes. And, I think that's an important part of the journey is just to say, like, at every step of the way, like, I don't know where I'm going to end up, but discerning what do I want the most right now and doing that. And I guess, like, yes, becoming a mother, like having children, having a family, that was the most important thing to me at that moment. And so I think for me, it's just been about staying open and listening to that still small voice and being willing to take risks.
Let's segue now into motherhood for a little bit, since that's
our favorite.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the alignment between us. So you have 3 daughters, 2 are teenagers.
Yes.
I have a teenage daughter who's friends with your middle one. How about parenting teenage girls? It's so fun, right?
Oh my God.
It's so fun. It's so fun, guys. It's so great.
It's a whole world. It's a whole vibe.
But our girls are amazing. All 4 of them are so, well, your 3 are each so unique, which I've always found so interesting. My 3 are also so unique.
Yes.
And different from each other. And, Hadley is obviously this very deep, emotional creative, just like her mom. What would you say has been sort of the most, I guess, rewarding part as the girls get older and like the relationship kind of changes? I know my answer, but I want to hear yours first.
Oh, I know exactly my answer. Okay. So my oldest is 15. Well, she's almost 16 in a few weeks. And Hadley and my middle daughter Zetta are at what I've come to learn is peak emotionality.
Yes, we were just discussing that.
And that is a phrase that I've learned from the parenting guru of teenage girls, Lisa D'Amour. The emotionality, like the peak emotionality, it is just so textbook. It's literally in her textbook.
Yeah.
That the worst of it is when they're ages 13 and 14.
Yeah.
And that's the age of our girls right now.
Yeah.
My middle and Hadley. And
they're like stuck in the in-between a little bit.
Yes.
Of like, am I a kid? Am I a woman?
And they're in middle school and they are so over it.
Yeah.
They're ready for the next thing. And so anyway, when Finley, my older daughter, was in those years, I took it so personal because she and I have just always been close. And then these years came and it was like she was grossed out by me. She did not want anything to do with me.
You gotta have thick skin for this season of life. You have to have
such thick skin. Honestly, downright rude.
Yeah.
To where I was like, who did I raise?
Yeah.
What?
It comes out of nowhere.
Yes. Yeah. It's ugly.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've all been there. Like, I know I was there, but anyway, this is my first child. And so I was just flabbergasted. Like, I just
I've had this conversation with every single one of my friends with girls our age.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I guess we don't talk about it enough.
It's a rite of passage.
We're all so shocked by this. It's because it's like your sweet little girl just becomes this monster.
Your little princess. Yeah.
And so, but I can tell you this, she turned 15 and she came back.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, there you are.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And suddenly now I think she tells me everything. I'm sure she doesn't. But it feels like we have a really open relationship and we just have fun together. Like she's a lot of fun. Now, will she revert into some like serious moodiness sometimes and say like really disrespectful things? Yeah.
Yeah. Because we can all get a little moody.
And we all can.
Yeah.
Yes. And I do it right back to her, unfortunately, because you know how it's like, we just feed off each other's energy.
Yeah.
It's so hard being the parent of teenage girls, but also.
Does Garrett play mediator or does he's like, y'all can duke this out?
He does. He does. He tries a little bit. He's a great dad to girls. He will step in and say like, you can't talk to your mom like that.
Yeah.
Which
is so important.
It's so helpful. Zetta though, right now is just so clingy to Garrett. Actually, she has really moved away from me to him. And I'm just thankful that he's there. Right? Like it's, hard to do these things without a partner.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I've been lucky to be able to lean on him through this season.
Okay. So I want to actually pivot here and talk about that because that was on my list. So hi, Garrett.
That's my husband.
Hi. Yeah. Hi, Garrett. Well, talk to me about the importance of having a supportive partner when you are a woman with passions and drive and you do want a little bit of an identity outside of motherhood. Oh, yeah. How important is that dynamic?
I just want to frame it like this. he is a white male Baptist preacher and kind of defies all those stereotypes.
He does.
Yeah. He's so approachable and humble and open-minded and gracious. And, he's just extremely supportive of me.
Right.
He's a bigger feminist than I am.
Yeah.
And he sees so much potential in me and wants to bring out the best in me for me. And if that means that we have to, make some decisions in our household, then we do. This is just like a practical one, but when I began working full-time, remember, it was gradual.
Right.
So guess who was doing the full load of household duties before I started working was me. And I just have to say, not because I was the wife, but because I was not working. So, I mean, someone has to do it.
You guys were complements. Yeah.
Yes. And so, but as I started working full-time, that load was still on me.
Yeah.
And I was drowning.
Yeah.
And so we had obviously some really important conversations where we identified that. And he said, what can I take off your plate? What can I do? And he decided to take over the kitchen.
I love it.
And so he does most of the grocery shopping, meal planning, and cooking.
Oh, very nice.
Like Nicole, he makes me breakfast every day.
Oh, he's a winner. He's a keeper.
I know. And I can't tell you the mental load that has taken off.
Yeah.
And so, yes, a supportive partner in theory, in encouraging you, but then also willing to actually do something.
Get their hands dirty a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just so valuable.
Yeah. I think when you find that sort of rhythmic harmony in a household like that, where it's I call it the 10-90 rule. So it's sometimes I can only give 10% in this area, but you love me enough and support me enough that you can put in 90 on my hard days, right?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So sometimes we can't show up fully in one area, right? We're spread thin, or maybe we're having a bad day, right? Yep. But if you're really in a good partnership, a balanced partnership, then that person isn't reluctant to jump in and carry the rest of the weight, because ultimately both people are going to go through those ebbs and flows. And so being, sometimes women are 90% of the household duties and men are 10, and they're 90% of the, providing and we're 10. Right. And then sometimes it's the reverse. And sometimes, men are 90% of the discipline and vice versa. Right. So it just I think understanding that when your partner maybe is needing to take a step back in a certain area and being willing to show up, right?
Yes.
Full throttle. Yeah.
It's so helpful.
Yeah.
It's so important.
So with the girls, going back to them, what do you think with everything you've accomplished and sort of all your projects you've got underway, and I'm sure they've seen you grow the way I have, right? As a woman, how important do you think that is for raising teenage girls, adolescent girls?
I'm actually really grateful that the timing worked out this way to where they were able to see and understand and witness this journey and growth, because, I didn't have my career all finished, or nobody's ever finished, but I hadn't reached that place before having kids. So they were able to be passengers for this ride. And what I think is important for them to learn from that is that when you're a teenager, especially, you're told that you're about to make some of the biggest decisions of your life. Right. Where you go to, the grades you make in class. Yeah.
Hadley's super stressed about college already.
Everything. Yeah. Yes. And your rank in high school and your SAT score and of course, where you end up going to college is going to make or break the rest of your life. That's the message that they're receiving. And while those things are important, of course, and do have a say in your direction, and I'm not trying to minimize all of that, but not everything comes from that.
Yeah. No.
Opportunities, new ideas, can occur at any time in our lives.
Yeah, you're more than your grades. You're social studies. No offense to any social studies educators.
Right. But, and so I think it's been really good for me to model for them that it is never too late to start over or to try something new. That doesn't mean it's right for everyone, but it was right for me, and I'm glad that they have that as an example.
Every single thing that I build or create or put passion into, I just hope that when she's witnessing that, she understands that I'm trying to show her what she's capable of and what lives inside her, because I truly believe that we're all vessels of God and our Creator, and that we're here to create and express fully, be authentic and true to ourselves, and live life loudly and vibrantly. And I worry sometimes that young girls don't have that visibility into themselves. So I think being able to showcase that through my work or passion projects or the ways I create is really exciting to me, because I can see now as she's growing her gifts and honing her skills, like art and orchestra and, all the creative things she likes to do. I feel like I'm so proud that she has the courage to put herself out there, kind of like we were talking about earlier, when that fear of rejection and stuff. It's like she's willing to put her heart into the world, and that means everything to me,
Yes. And I think just that she has you to speak those words into her life is, that's the best gift you can give her.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked a lot about sort of the roadmaps we've taken, what we've accomplished, kind of all of the balls and hats that we juggle and wear. But what are some grounding things that help keep you centered and focused? Because with everything you and I have on our plates, it's easy to sort of get weighed down by it all and lose yourself in it a little bit. Burnout, like over, maybe act in a performative way where we're like overgiving, overdoing, right? How do you make sure that you make time for grounding yourself, like self-love, self-care, and not forgetting about you?
Yeah, I really like how you phrased that question. Are you familiar with the Enneagram?
Yes, I'm a 2.
Me too.
Of course.
Okay.
We're helpers, hostesses.
Okay.
Of course we are.
Here's my Enneagram journey.
What's your wing?
In a nutshell. 3.
Me too.
Yeah.
Achiever.
Duh. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. But I'm a new 2. And let me tell you what I mean. So the whole time that I've known about the Enneagram, I thought I was a 6.
Okay, which is
the 6. The 6 is the loyalist.
Okay, yeah.
The
which
6
I could see
is highly anxious, which I am, and so it was easy for me to identify with that because like betrayal is a big thing for 6s.
Yeah.
Like
justice,
yes, systemic justice, which is my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So I was like always so sure that I'm a 6. But I think like what I've learned recently is that, well, I don't need to go into why, but I think I'm a 2.
Yeah.
But I actually was hesitant. I didn't know that I was a 2 because a lot of times the 2 is called the helper.
Yeah.
And I don't see myself as especially helpful.
I think you're very helpful.
Well, my husband laughed when I said that because he's like,
sure, honey. I see you, Garrett.
So anyway, I don't think I'm especially helpful, but there's another word for the 2, which is the giver.
Right.
And that I really did strongly identify with.
Yeah.
And I can give of myself to lots of things and lots of people.
Yes.
And then forget about myself.
Yeah.
And that's probably like really common for women.
Yes, that's my entire first 37 years. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I was reading about it, and you may know this too, that insecurity 2s go to 4.
Yeah.
And what you get from that is like this inward look, where you go in and you self-reflect, and a healthy 2 should spend a lot of time in that 4 space and take care of themselves.
That's what changed for me too.
Creative expression.
I love it. That's what changed for me. I didn't know any of that. That's crazy. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Totally
finding creative outlets is so important for a 2.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing I've learned recently about a 2 is that we're verbal processors, and writing has always been the way that I have like processed. Yes. So journaling, writing. So I think that the creative work that I have on this side, like this like book side hustle is so life-giving to me for that reason.
Yeah.
It blends a lot of the things that I care about, and it also helps me take care of myself. So it's not necessarily like a daily thing, but I know that like when I'm feeling, when I'm starting to feel really resentful and like I have too much going on, what I actually need to do is stop and take
Get
some
it out on
time
writing.
and write.
Yeah. Yeah. I journal every day as well.
What else do you do? What else are your other practices?
Meditate, usually for meditate and pray. I start with a devotional, and then I will go into meditation and prayer, and I usually sit there for about an hour in my morning. I spend an hour every day and with my inner conscience.
Amazing.
It's changed my life.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah. And then fitness, that's always been really important to me. So I am somebody that processes, intakes, and puts out a lot of energy. And so in order for that not to turn into anxiety, I have to burn it.
Yes.
Working out. So I work out a couple hours a day too.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many hours are in your day? Is it like 37? Because
so about to be less.
mine
now
are
that
24. I don't know about yours.
No, there's never enough. That's for sure. But I am lucky enough that through the company, I've been able to get back some time and balance into my life. Now, the first 2.5 years, this place owned me, right?
Yeah.
Like
that's
totally
how you do it.
gave all of myself to it.
As long as it's a season.
Yeah,
right?
it was just a season, and now I'm at the point where I have this incredible team. Oh, they're amazing. That I can trust and that is expert in what they do, and I hold the vision and come in and support and lead where I need to, make decisions. But for the most part, they're the ones making sure that everyone's needs are getting met and that we're supporting the clients. And so that gives me some time to really center and ground myself, because the more rooted I can stay, the better this place is going to do, the better the show is going to do, because I have the clarity and the peace within to be able to execute on the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a better leader
Yeah.
because of it.
Absolutely. So I'm very lucky. I don't take, every day I have so much gratitude for the ability to really design my life around, what I want. So, yeah.
Well, I think gratitude in itself is an important daily practice too.
Huge.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. And now I can point at it and say, we don't do that anymore. And let's look around and at the wonder.
At the wonder. Yes. Circling back to the wonder.
Yeah.
It can save us.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other fundamental things that you think keep your life moving in the right direction? Any tips or tricks you want to share?
I am a huge book nerd.
Okay.
I read all the time.
Yeah.
And that honestly is such an outlet for me. I mean, I obviously like it. It's fun. It's entertainment. But to me, it quiets my mind. And it's like a little escape to another world.
I love it.
And I just give myself permission to read all the time. My kids know, if I'm finishing a book, they can't talk to me.
Yeah, that meditation hour I talked about, they know that's mommy's time.
Yeah, and it's
they know not to come outside during mommy's time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so good to have those boundaries.
Yeah.
I mean, not that reading a book is a boundary, but anyway.
It is. Anything that you need to fill your cup,
Yes.
that you're like, this is a non-negotiable for me. I call them non-negotiables. This is a non-negotiable for me.
Because it doesn't ask you for more and more and more? Books.
A book.
I mean, except to turn the page.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's not asking anything from me.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. It's a good relationship.
It is. Yeah, I love that. What's your favorite book that you're reading right now? Any recommendations?
Oh, I'm reading Theo of Golden, which if for any readers out there is a New York Times bestseller. It's this new book. Actually, you would love it, Nicole. It's so inspiring. Aww. It's a novel, and it's the author is this older man. I can't remember how old he is. I don't want to age him, but I feel like he's in his 80s. Something like that. And he lives in this small town in Georgia, and this is his first book.
Oh, wow.
Talk about it's never too late.
Yeah, never too late. It's never too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
And this book has just exploded. It's so inspirational and sweet and just a feel-good story, which is what we need today.
Yep. All right. So I'm a firm believer in God placing calls on our hearts. And it can be difficult sometimes to have discernment in knowing what is a passing thought and what is a true calling. What for you were some of the signals in which you knew I have to see this through?
The talking about God's calling on your life is language that I grew up with for sure. My dad was a pastor, and it was one of his passions to help people listen to the voice of God and find their calling. That was one of his most singular passions in his pastoral life. And so I was really raised with that language and that idea that God is calling you to something. And that doesn't just mean to be a missionary, but each of us in whatever our vocation is, God has created us with a certain set of skills and strengths and passions to meet a need. And there's a theologian called Frederick Buechner who talks about how to find your calling. Your calling is where the world's deepest need and your greatest passions collide.
That's the essence of the show. That's amazing. I love it. That's the message I want to spread too. Yeah.
So when it came to that book, I felt like there is a need for children's literature about God. I have a passion for that and a skill set for that. And so that's how you know. That's how you know it's a calling. Anyone could have that idea, but they're not maybe the one to do it. I have lots of ideas that aren't mine to do. And so learning to discern what is mine to do, how is this idea, this good idea, how is it meeting the world's deepest need right now?
I can take a long time to do things. Like this podcast has been something I've been concepting for years, but then I would always talk myself out of it through those limiting beliefs. You know, nobody's going to watch. What if people say mean things? What if it's rejected? What if it's not well received? You know, things like that. Or what if I say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, you know? And the thing about a calling is it never goes away. God will keep putting it in front of you until you fulfill on it. Like you can't escape it.
That's so true for me too.
Yeah. You can't stop thinking about it, or there's signs, you know, pointing you in that direction, or people like that agent that was an agent. Like that's obviously a God wink, right?
Right. It was.
And so being able to spot those things, to know, okay, I hear you, I see you, I'll keep taking the steps forward, right?
Yeah.
And discernment is a word we've said a couple times, and that is one of my guiding principles. And I didn't have discernment before, probably the last 2 years, and now it's something that I am expert in, discernment and intuition.
Yes.
And by kind of honing those skills, I've really been able to know this is the path for me right now, and to be able to move forward on it with certainty and faith.
Yes. It's so much more efficient to just discern it right away, right? Rather than like taking this meandering path, which is okay. God will stay with you on that path and keep giving you those signs.
You're like, I'm too busy, God. Nope, back this way.
Yeah.
I'm too scared, God. Nope, back this way.
But isn't it quicker to just learn to to follow? Yeah. It's just learn to do it.
Yeah, you do. Like you start moving quicker when you can implement those things, I think. I asked you earlier about kind of the things you've discovered about yourself along these journeys, all of them really. Can you think of a milestone moment or a moment in time, and maybe it was just, you know, when the book hit on Amazon or whatever, but a moment in time when you were like, oh my gosh, I did that. I did not know that was in me. Look at that. Yeah. What was that moment?
Well, it was definitely the book. You know, actually, it's fun because, and I don't know if this answers your question exactly, but when I was a kid, my parents reminded me of this, that I wanted to be an author. And when I was in second grade, I wrote a book, and it was, you know, published. It was laminated.
Really?
Laminated.
Oh, laminated. So sweet. I love it.
Yes.
Well, do you remember what the book was called?
Oh, yeah. I still have it. It's
okay. I need to see this.
Trouble at School.
Cute. Because you were in trouble at school all the time?
No, I was the best student. But I guess I was like trying to imagine what other people were going through. I don't know. It is the funniest book, but like pretty good for a second grader. I'm not gonna lie. But you know, that book to me represents this inner childhood dream that I had just totally forgotten about. And then when this book was published, it was just such a moment for me to say, like, I did something. Yeah. I did that. Yeah. That was in me all along. Like that's my little second grade Cameron is so happy right now.
Beautiful story.
You know, I actually did it.
You know, you mentioned you had forgotten, and I think that's such a good point, because what I've learned in my journey is that life is a remembrance. I think when we go through things in life, whether it be like trauma or just we get lost in the day-to-day monotony of daily life, raising a family, things like that, work, we can sometimes bury those parts of ourselves without even knowing it. And that's what I really want to challenge everyone who watches this podcast to ask themselves, what have they buried within themselves that is waiting to be expressed, discovered, seen? You know, that you're a gift that your creator gave you, or a passion that the world needs, like you said, a desperate need from the world. Like, I think it's important for viewers to really ask themselves those questions, because for me, my journey with Transcendental and everything in my personal life really began with me asking myself questions.
Yes. And, you know, I think that children, the innocence of childhood, right? We're so fresh, just how God created us to be. And then the world does a number on us.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
And so we have to, uncover those practices and uncover like who we were originally and who God created us to be, and the potential that God has for us already built in.
obviously there's women probably out there that have that little whisper inside, or that, what did you call it?
Still small voice.
Still small voice. Their still small voice maybe is whispering to them, and they can't turn it off, but they also aren't doing anything about it. Like maybe limiting beliefs, or coming from a place of lack, feeling like lack of money, lack of time, lack of capability. What would you say to a woman on the fence about pursuing a dream or passion?
I would say, what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
And I know that sounds so trite, but I think it is an important question, because like for me in my journey with anxiety, actually naming it, like what is the worst outcome, is helpful to know, like, okay, if that's the worst outcome, I think I could live with that. I could survive that. So, and then what is the worst outcome if you don't do it? Are you going to just always wonder and live with regret? And then you just have to make a choice.
Yeah. All right, Cameron. Well, we've pretty much covered the gambit of, the full circle of a woman, right, today, which has been so much fun. Thank you so much, my dear friend, for being here and your support. I love you.
I love you too. Thanks so much for having me. This was a real honor.
Yeah. We've been friends for so many years, and it's been so cool to be witness to your testimony and your journey. And thank you.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Likewise.
Yeah. Before you go, though, Cam, would you please sign my book, since you're about to be a famous author? You
book.
haven't. Let me find a pen. Now, everyone go out and please get off Prime. My Love, God is Everywhere. And when the pre-order sales for the 2 new books hit, I will make sure to share those on our socials, so you guys can grab copies of those too.
There you go.
Thank you. Oh, my dear Nicole, God is always with you. He's here right now, Cameron. Thank you.